When we feel stressed, we're basically being warned that we're going to experience something challenging or problematic. In small amounts, stress is a good thing, motivating us to achieve. But when stress is overpowering, it causes us to feel anxious, and sometimes stress can even make us feel sick. I'm going to come to you with this, Zavo. It's so true, isn't it? I was speaking to a doctor who said that 90% of the ailments that he sees coming through his practice are people suffering physical conditions because of the stress. So just speak to us about that.
Absolutely, and not only is it the case that a lot of ailments are because of stress, but if you have ailments, you also get stress, which make it worse or make it more difficult to treat or manage. But I suppose the important thing there is to understand that stress is, on the one hand, quite a nice concept to use, especially socially or in public discourse, because it makes it a lot more accessible. And at the same time, we shouldn't lose the fact that it's very serious. You know, it's related to anxiety, which is a serious and sometimes severe pathology, and can be incredibly debilitating and cause a lot of dysfunction. And stress is at the root of many presentations, whether it's psychological, psychiatric, and even physiological, kind of just your pure medicine. And we need to be aware of it and catch it at the early stages.
Meryl, you know, I went to a health talk, and this woman comes on, and I think she was from the coast, and she comes on there and she says to us, if you are living in Joburg, you are stressed. I don't care what you say, you are stressed. And I was listening to this woman, and I'm thinking, I'm not stressed, though. And I wasn't at that time. And sometimes, is it that we're thinking, okay, well, I've got a job and I've got all these demands on me, so it's okay for me to be stressed, that sometimes we don't actually realize, like Zamo is saying, that it's something that we should be paying attention to. When does it transcend from being just a normal stress of living to something that you should be paying attention to and should probably seek help for?
Well, I think, again, in modern times, we are living very stressful lives in general, and particularly here in Joburg. A lot of us are working parents, or we have jobs, or we're studying and we have a full-time job as well, or we are single, we're single parents, and we're juggling multiple things at once. So we really are stressed, but for a lot of people, stress is good. Again, it does help motivate them and keep them on their toes, and people do like that challenge. But again, you need to then understand and draw the line, when has my stress levels become too much? And it can be quite dangerous because it can lead you to burnout, which is, again, very dangerous. I mean, you can be hospitalized for that. And then again, your family situation, your work relationships could then have a negative impact because of that stress. So I think it's very important, again, and I always say this, that we need to look out for each other. You know, even if you don't have a family, then it's colleagues or friends, or, you know, your boss. You know, look out for each other. And if you see that someone is just a little bit on edge, or just, you know, slacking in work a little bit, they may be a little bit stressed out. And take the time out, again, just to talk to that person, ask them, how are you feeling? And again, don't accept, I am fine, or I'm coping. They clearly aren't. So I think talk to that person, and I think also just, you should know yourself as well. And if you're not feeling, you know, up to scratch, and if you're not coping, talk to someone about it.
We were talking in the break, and it was you know, we were joking, but it's actually quite serious. I was saying to you that I've got a friend that I speak to every single day. We talk, and then we can talk for an hour and a half, and we just talk about everything. And then my husband will be like, what are you talking about? You just spoke to her yesterday. And we were saying that with women, we talk a lot, and men not so much. So I want to ask you, Zama, as a man, how do you deal with the stresses? We talk, we cry. How do you deal with the stresses? And I would imagine, especially for the people around you guys, we don't know what to do when you're not feeling so great, and we're not getting those cues of how do we help.
Well, men deal with that like a bad rash. You ignore it until it goes away. I'm kidding, but I think
that's what most men do, and then it becomes that physical ailment you were talking about.
Exactly, and I think that I use that analogy deliberately because sometimes you can see it on the surface, right? So they may not speak about it as much, but it's in your observation and your interpretation that something isn't right, that something is going on. And whether it's kind of excessive irritability, whether it's social isolation or a disconnect, whether it's aggression especially, a change usually lets you know that something isn't okay. And while men may not speak about it as much, they will communicate about it. They'll communicate about it in a very different way, but they will communicate. And it might be important to be acutely aware of that, as much as it is to encourage everyone, men and women, to speak about it as well.
Meryl, I want to come back to the festive season again. A lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of expense that's going to happen. So people are already thinking, am I going to make it in January because of all the gifts and everything I've got to spend right now? So let's speak about that. What causes, the stress and the anxiety during the festive season? We're talking about it's supposed to be such a happy period, but then again, we don't say, I'm actually freaking out here.
I think, again, the festive season's at the end of our year. So we are totally exhausted generally from a long year of hustling and bustling and making sure kids are doing well at school and that we're performing well at work or we're doing well at school. So I think by the time the end of the year comes, we are exhausted. But then society again puts that pressure on us that the festive season should be a happy time, a time where we give and share and buy presents and have this elaborate spread on the table. Again, we should. I think we need to realize what we can achieve and what our expectations for ourselves and what we can actually manage within our family. I can't afford a big spread, so I think putting that pressure on ourselves can be quite harmful. So I think we put pressure on ourselves, we put pressure on each other. The weird uncle from the coast is coming down and, I'm thinking, how am I going to handle that? And his inappropriate jokes. My mother-in-law's coming. You've got a house full of people that you don't really like, perhaps. It can be quite stressful. So I think if you just play it safe and just keep it simple, and don't worry about the materialistic stuff and the gifts and the big spread. And again, it's just about family and keeping it simple and just being there for each other. It will alleviate a lot of stress for yourself and for everybody else.
Zalma, a friend of mine was saying to me, I'm one of those people. Is everybody happy to, is everybody getting along? And they said, you are actually causing the stress for yourself because these are adults and they can kind of take care of how they're feeling or what's going on. So how much are we responsible for in the way that we feel and the way that we handle this season?
I suppose the important thing to remember as well is that we perhaps put too much pressure to be happy the entire 31 days of this 1 month, as if nothing is gonna happen to kind of get our mood down or to kind of get a bit frustrated or a bit stressed out or just okay. And it's okay, I suppose, to go through the season and to have, like you would in July and in March and in May, kind of the ups and downs. Perhaps that might be one of the first useful things to do is to allow yourself just to have a good time and at the very same time, not to put pressure on yourself to be happy and to put pressure on other people to be happy as well. And then the second thing, and I think, Meryl, you were alluding to this, is to contextualize the fact that it is only 31 days. And I think that might work quite well to alleviate or to reduce a lot of the anxiety that comes into it must be a perfect, joyous, amazing Christmas. It's just another month. It's a great opportunity to spend time with friends and family, to recuperate, and at the same time, it is 31 days. It might be useful to remember that in order to put things into perspective.
And when you say friends and family, I think that's important because we focus so much on the family, but they're friends as well. And I don't think, if they really are your friends, I would imagine they would be okay with you spending some time with them, and being open and sharing with what's going on. Now, again, it comes back to what you were saying about staying connected.
Exactly. And, I know that we are all busy and a lot of us will be going away or being preoccupied with family members and extended family members. So pick up the phone if you don't get a chance to be with your friends that we've been seeing for this entire other 11 months. So you don't want to forget about them either. So, just pick up the phone or nowadays Twitter them or Facebook them or WhatsApp them. It's so quick and easy and, we all know that we will feel better afterwards. So just to stay reconnected with everyone and don't forget about the people that you've been together for 11 months of the year.
You were talking about how important it is, again, if you need the help, if you need to talk, if you need that support, you're just being open and saying, okay, who can I speak to, whether it's SADC, whether it's a friend.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that SADC is a great point of call, mostly because of the availability as well as the kind of expertise that you get on the other side of the phone call. So do that. And at the same time, with everybody else that you have, I think what might be useful is to remember that we could spend time as much as we spend money. So perhaps that might be a useful motto for the festive season. Let's spend time and money at the same time.
Meryl, I want to quickly ask you this. We've run out of time, but I want to quickly ask you, Sadak, you're going to be open throughout the festive season?
We will be open. Our toll-free number is again free, so they can call us on 0800 21 22 23. It's a really easy number to remember, and yeah, just share the love.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, the end year period is a time for positivity. For those feeling the pressures of the festive season, though, remember the advice given by our professionals. Don't let what you can't do interfere with what you can.